There we go. Oh, it's been a while since I streamed a live Q&A. I have no idea what he just said. Okay, Chatteroony. Okay. All right. So what I like to do for live Q&A, they normally go pretty long. Maybe we won't go too long this time. We don't take questions yet. I like to show you a couple of things and talk about the episode generally. But then I open it up to questions from chat entirely, and it's just whatever I pull from. Chat can go by pretty quickly, and so it's just what I can see in there. So it can get rambunctious in here. If your question doesn't get picked, don't spam it, but don't give up on it. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show you, I actually made like just before we started the stream. So maybe I can just drop it in. Yeah, I can. It looks like. So one thing is when we're doing voiceover in any episode, whenever somebody's interrupted in voiceover, I always hate it when it's like, and the best part is, and they're about to get interrupted, you know what I mean? And so when people are recording lines, even though the script says, and the best part is dash dash, I usually ask the actor to like keep going. And that's what this one is.
I can see every move you make right through your box.
No fair.
Oh, it's fair. And the best part is I can see through clothes, too.
It's good. Ben? It's good, dude. And you know what's really funny is that's the take I used. That's the actual take I ended up using. It was a good take. Because he really goes, and the best part is, he's ready to tell you all about that. And then he gets interrupted. And then one last thing I wanted to show you. I didn't prep too much. This is some early concept art, obviously. You can see me like trying to figure out proportions of the characters. A super early peak ref design on the far right? Like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what Box Peak is about. And then the bonus scene at the end of this week's episode is right there. That's how long I've wanted to do Bonefield Island, dropping someone off on it. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, and a legit coffee stain. Right, I'm trying to figure out like what the 1, 2s, and 3s are gonna look like, and yeah, it's just like, man, it'd be really cool if somebody's got to get dropped off on Bonefield Island. So it's really exciting to finally get that episode out. It's cool. It happened. The one thing I didn't prepare is also, maybe I can just do that now too. One moment. Scoopy Doop. Yeah, we shrink you down.
I am Elvire Dumont, Chief Engineer of the Peak Ref program. I am, in a general sense.
And then let me mute that. Okay, cool. Okay, chat. So let's do it. Let's open up to your questions. Is Bonefield Island a PUBG thing? When I wrote down Bonefield Island, I was not aware of what PUBG was. That's how long I've been writing this stuff. How much time has passed since episode 5? That's a really good question. Not too much time, but yeah, I like to like sneak some things in there. So you're the kid everyone's talking about. There we go. I'm sorry, German Efficiency, we missed you. German Efficiency, by the way, is Dr. Scrapper. Just a really good performance there. And I wanted it to be a thing where people are like, who is, you know what I mean? It's like a scene that's supposed to be like kind of unnerving. You know what I mean? It's like, wait, who is this? But also, I love that German Efficiency is, just as much as Easy Allies thing. Sorry, I forgot the question that I was initially answering. Oh, about how much time has passed. Yeah, so you're the kid everyone's talking about. So I don't have a clear idea, honestly, written down of how many weeks have passed or days, but enough for Jordy to get some points. He's had some matches come in. He's getting a reputation. I like that kind of thing. How do you source create the music? All of it comes from Epidemic Sound. I really like Epidemic Sound. I think maybe one track from this episode comes from Artlist.io, but generally almost everything's coming from Epidemic, and even the sound effects. So, hey, if you're a YouTube creator, I highly recommend it. It is cheap. They let you do it monthly, and just compared to other sound effect libraries and music libraries, really good for the price. Like super, super good for how little you're spending. And then yeah, every single sound effect too. And it's pretty easy to search for sound effects. Sometimes you're like, especially when it's like PeakRef 12, and you're like, what is this sound? What am I trying to search for? And then you hear like beep, 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 beep. When it turns on, it's like that. How long ago was the latest recording session for VO for this episode? I think this episode has 0 pickups. So like 2 years ago, like so long ago. This was all recorded so long ago. What kind of song did you imagine Jordy dancing to the beat of X-Ray Glasses? His favorite dance moves? Yeah, I don't think of it as a song. I just think of him just being like... Have you ever mixed sound effects? No. No, really, really hard. Honestly, this episode in particular, for a couple obvious reasons, has like 3 times more sound effects than a regular episode. It's so many. It was really intimidating, honestly. But yeah, there's a couple of parts I really like. I like when the observers first show up. Like, I just think it sounds cool. There's some just cool sound effects in there. Why did you choose not to show Jordy's match in this episode? Because it's about PeakRef 12. It's all about PeakRef 12. It's not about Jordy. How'd you do the doorway shot? You know, I was thinking, I wonder if I got like raw footage of that. I wonder if that'd be cool to look at. Let me look real quick. Raw footage chat. Come on over here. Because that was, I think, another thing where it was like, I got this room, right? Like, I built this room that you're looking at right now. Why not utilize it? Why not actually use that thing? Real quick. Here we go. I think I found the raw footage. Yeah, baby. Okay, so let me drag that in. Let me see if that works. We're about to look at the raw footage of the scene that is on screen right now. Okay, so that does not work. All right, let me try one more thing then. Yeah, it's opening in the program I don't want it to open in. Just a second, Chatteroony. I mean, more like 40 seconds. But this stuff's kind of cool to look at. Open with you. Let's do full screen over here. Marks of Mars. And then let me do this. Oh, are you seeing it now? Is that actually working? It's huge. What is why did that happen? Okay, whatever. Cool. So yeah, here we go. It's not January of 2013. That's actually the wrong date. Here, let me rewind it. This is like me, like, what can I do with this? How can I do this shot? This is kind of nice, actually. But look, I lost the floor. I'm like, oh, okay, I messed that up. Okay, all right. Oh, it's got audio, too. I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, I guess it doesn't? Here we go. Yeah, oh, no. Oh, this is hard. Okay. Yeah, it was fun to make characters who have muscles, too. I was like, how do I make them look like bad guys? Because every Box Beat character just has, like, skinny little arms. Ooh, that's pretty good. Doing good. Oh, dang it. Because it's all handheld, you know what I mean? I'm just doing this with my hands. I don't have like a cool, I don't know, track to put the camera on. It's kind of cool. You get to see there's an actual hallway running against this way too. Ooh, this one's good. I like this, actually. Good motion. Oh, no. Oh, you messed it up, buddy. Wait, there's 2 of them? Here we go. Nice shot of that cable, too. Oh, okay. That's just... You're sloppy, bud. I'm frustrated. You can tell I'm frustrated. It's another good reason to mute these, because like these are where you would hear the swear words. Well, that's a neat idea. It's like this little fast one. Dude, trying to pull focus and everything? Good grief, dude. How did I get this? Okay, here we go. Uh-huh. Nice, dude. Ooh, that's so good. That's probably the one in the actual episode. I like that. Though I think I went with one that's a little further away so you get to see more of what's in the actual room. Handheld gimbal? Yeah, I just, like, with the camera setup that I have that always needs to be plugged in at all times, it just would have been hard to set up. Do I use a lot of warp stabilizer? The answer is no, because I don't know what that is. I don't know what a warp stabilizer is. Oh, this was dumb. This was like, okay, we'll start focus on his back, and then by the time he looks into the room, I'll be focusing on the racks. The racks are pretty cool, by the way. It's just totally lucky that the things fit inside of them. It's one of those things where I'm like drawing a thing and then cutting it out and then not knowing if it fits until everything's cut together. You know what I mean? Until I'm shoving those pieces into each other. So it was actually super lucky that PeakRef 12 fit in there. Stabilizing in post. Yeah, I should check that out. Because I got wobbly hands. Oh, but it warps the footage. Look at me. I'm just trying so hard. You're not going to get this, buddy. You're not going to get this shot. You already have it. I think I was worried that like the pan around would be too wobbly, too shaky. Oh, Kyle. Come on, dude. Oh, here we go. Oh! Hey, that one's actually pretty nice. Oh, lost the floor. Nope. Oh, you messed it up again. So hard. This was so hard to do. "40 minutes of this? You know, I'm down. I'm down to watch me mess up for 40 minutes. Oh, okay. And that's it. That's the end of that clip. I was like, oh, you know what? I give up. Something in there has got to be good. There we go. I do not have Brad as an assistant. That was me solo in Box Peak Studios. How do you feel about this being a season premiere? So, actually not too bad. I think that it wasn't designed that way, right? It wasn't written that way. It was supposed to be a 10 episode season. And then what's really funny is I kind of undersold it at the end of episode 5 when I was like, man, I really didn't want to end this season here. Like, it kind of doesn't make sense. And like, just like the episodes could go in any order. But like, I knew that season 2 is going to start with a PeakRef episode. You know what I mean? I think it's like a great episode to start season 2 with. Especially because like the trailer shows that first scene where it's like, careful, Geordi, you know, the scene that you expect. And so just to have a cold open where you're like, what are all these PeakRefs doing here? What is all this? Like, I love it. That's ideal for me. I'm stoked about that. Do kids have to jump out of a plane if they get sent to Bonefield Island? Bonefield Island is prison. Kids would not be sent to Bonefield Island. How early on did you have the PeakRef lore established? How do you mean? Like, I don't know if it's funny. I don't know if there was a ton of lore to the peak refs. I guess you learn a lot of the rules, right? Like he's very concerned. You're right. A lot of that stuff is like, to me, automatic. So when I think of the world of Box Peak, I'm like, well, of course only the peak refs could be this technology, and so of course they have to protect this technology. And so like it is really fun to introduce the self-destruct mechanisms, because for whatever reason the BPO is allowed to use this technology. They have to protect it. And so yeah, to me that's like the fun stuff of having like a goofy show about Box Peak, about a silly sport, is all of the stuff that's actually happening, all of the rules that would need to be put in place. Did you ever plan to show the battles between the observers and the bad guys? No. The observers, to me, they're kind of fun that way. They're like the others in Lost, where they're more fun before you see them. And so like, no, like I have the script. It's completely blackness when the observers are there as well. It's meant to be like the scary thing. You're like, what are these noises? There's some lines I even cut where like one guy's like, how do they move like that? Which just wasn't necessary. I don't think you would actually say that as you're getting beaten up. But yeah. I always wanted the observers to be like, wait, what is happening in Box Peak right now? Has he mentioned observers before? No? Okay, what is it? Why is he doing this? So yeah. I really like everything this episode piles on. And yeah, don't expect more observers next episode, right? Like don't think that like, oh, okay, so next episode they'll explain the observers then. It's like, no. I just like doing stuff like that. It's just I like that. Did you have the accent in mind for the doctor? I think yeah, Sean would probably remember this better than I do, but like I think he wanted to make it more German, and I'm like, no, don't make it too German. He wanted to put German words in his mouth, just like ach ja, and I'm like, well, no, the German language doesn't exist in the Box Peak universe, so he can't say ach ja. And so it was like the dumbest conversation you could have with somebody who's like trying to give you his best. He's like, but I think it'd just be neat. It's like, well, no. Those words shouldn't exist. And so it's like, no, to me, more than the accent, I wanted this creepiness out of Sean, and he delivered. The line where he goes like, I'm going to go process this gem. I wonder what the parenthetical is on that one. Let me check that. Because I love the little he does after it, which was not at all in the script. Oh my gosh, there's no parenthetical. It just says, keep guarding this door. I'm going to process the gem. That's all Sean. He added that gleeful little it's really, really good. Yeah, I just love the idea that it's hinted that, right? I take apart machines old and new. It's hinted that, like, there's some cool stuff out there, right? That people don't have access to, right? And so, like, love that big time. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's cut from the scripts. This is kind of interesting. This is like basically as storyboarded as I got for this episode. We're gonna have to turn you off for that to work. So like, this was me, like this is the scene where it's in the hallway. Stop the peak ref, it's just candy. Uh-oh, Dr. Scrapper is more intelligent than I assessed him to be. Cut that line, it wasn't necessary. But like, here's like, I'm like, how do I even like shoot the action of this scene? And that's basically my roughest storyboards. And you can see I X'd them out as I pick them up. Would you auction those scripts someday? No, I'll throw them away someday. I'll be happy to throw them away. Will you have a new opening at some point? I would have loved to. Honestly, that's one of my things that I like. When I think about season 2, I would have loved maybe an updated theme song and a whole new opening. But I needed to get Box Peak done. You know what I mean? It was not high priority. And also, like, season 2 is season 1. It's written as 10 episodes. What kind of things do you find the most fun to make? Drawing characters versus crafting box mods, etc. Crafting the box mods can be really fun from like a challenge perspective, like the robot arm, right? In this episode, I'd say the most challenging things were the bars that PKREF 12 is stuck onto, and then like that effect of it like popping off of it. This sucked. I think there's like 15 PKREFs. There's one extra that's not even ever on camera. This sucked. I did this over Christmas vacation last year, drawing a bunch of PKREFs. I was like, Kyle, what are you doing? It's like this just wait 10 months. Yeah, this is funny. This is making a bunch of PKREFs was not fun, because also, like, honestly, you don't need to. There was really no reason to make all of these PKREFs, but I thought it'd be like visually interesting. I thought it would be like, oh, okay, there are a lot of PKREFs, and like you feel it more, like it's more tangible if you actually see them all and they're not faked or anything. This was really fun to do. This is basically a box mod. Very delicately cutting around the mouth. Like, it's still the same PKREF 13 from the shot before, right? I just took it off and then like did that. Another piece of paper that's like the inside of the mouth, and then like sliding it down, and that's the best take. That's like what I mean to say is there are a bunch of bad takes of trying to get the mouth to go down smoothly, but obviously that's box peak, right? It can't be too smooth. It's kind of funny that it's like Do you ever have a second party in the room when you record your VO? No. When it's me doing CD, no, it's just me. Victor is confirmed balding. Yes, that is true. Is the game of box peak a pyramid scheme? Absolutely not. What was the very first and very last thing you did for this episode? So I like to eat my pizza backwards, and I like to do these episodes backwards from difficult first, worst part first. So actually, I mean, I can check because of this stuff. I would have thought I did the lair first, but it looks like the first thing I shot actually was all of the opening of like, careful Jordy, this is Minkle Rude. Yeah, so it looks like the first thing I shot for some reason is the easiest stuff on this episode, which was dumb. And then the last thing, shot 63. Oh, yeah, it's PKREF bonking around and trying to fly through the hallways. Interesting. I did this episode backwards, for sure. That is not my normal method. Was it intentional to have the PKREF's voices the same as the creator? Kind of. I think I thought it would be cute, but also like Ian's a good voice actor, you know what I mean? And so like I thought it'd be cool if they have the same voice as the person who created them. But also like it's so weird. Some characters I draw like 5 times before I figure out what they're supposed to look like. Like Minkle Rude, you know what I mean? I'm like, what is this? For Olivier Dumond, it was like first try. Like I just got it. Like I kind of like had this guy envisioned even when I was writing the script, and like Ian like delivered him almost exactly as I would imagine him. You know what I mean? Like that guy just is that guy. And so sorry, I got lost there. Oh yeah, to me just it made sense to put Ian there. And like Ian is the helicopter pilot because it's just a hard to sell joke. I have no idea what he just said. And I just like knew Ian could pull that one off. And so like it's a super Ian heavy episode, but I was like, well, it's weird. I like when it was casting, when it was time to like pick out the roles for each Easy Ally, it wasn't on like an episode to episode basis. It was like character to character basis. And so some episodes are this person heavy and some episodes are this person heavy. Any reason for Alvir's 3 box porters, or is that a spoiler? It's not a spoiler. So I imagine that he has to do a lot of testing. He's the PCREF engineer. So I imagine that like he's just got to like make sure they operate, right? And so like I even like the idea that he's got this like red orange one. And you're like, what does that one do? You know what I mean? So like, yeah, he's got box porters that are nobody else has, or that we've seen anyway. And so yeah, it's just because he's an engineer and so he's got to do testing. Thoughts of using an animation cell in the parachute shot. So you'll see it soon actually when it says episode 6. You'll see like how dirty they get. It just gets gross. Look at that. You see so much dandruff and just dust. So yeah, honestly, I like the look of a string more than that. Would I ever release a Box Peak art book? No. From someone who loves art books, there's not enough good Box Peak art to do that. Yeah, so the 4 antenna extensions that PCREF 12 and all the PCREFs have are just stabilizers. So they could just go blah, 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 everywhere, but yeah, they just kind of, they're just there for stabilizing. Was there much improv collaboration with Ian on the dialogue in this episode? So the hardest thing for Ian, I think, in this episode was, and it's stuff that I really, really appreciate in the edit, was the hallway scene where PCREF 12 is trying to escape. Ian would give me excerpts, I learned that were called, right? Just bunches of them, just like, and actually, this is cool. The line in the script is just, I must, and then he gets hit, right? I used 2 different takes because there was more time to fill and like more drama to build up, and the music was swelling. And so like I used like, I must, and then I must. And it's just because Ian gave 2 very different takes that it works. I'm really stoked about those. Any new merch for this season? Unfortunately, no. Was it tricky picking out the color of the X-ray lenses? Yes, and I think I did a bad job. A bunch of times I'll be like, I'll have all my colored pencils, and I will color something in and then like, man, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't pick that color. I think the X-ray glasses could look a lot cooler. Would you consider selling your paper puppets? No. One thing I thought about is that like in a future Easy Allies meetup, like having like booster packs. So like putting like 2 or 3 in envelopes and then just like handing them out when you walk into an Easy Allies meetup. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I kind of like don't like the idea of saying that these things have value. You know, I don't know. Maybe, you know, maybe we could auction off an important character or something. How did Victor get involved with the Observers and the Scrappers group? So what is implied there is that Victor knows if you catch a PCREF, you're going to Bonefield Island. He's like, fools. I never thought that. When they're like, what made you think you could get away with this? It's like he just wanted a trip to Bonefield Island. Fools. You're right. He says fools. I never thought that. So yeah, basically, Victor set this whole thing up. He set this whole thing up of like, hey, okay, we're going to steal an intelligence gem membrane from a PCREF, and you'll be able to sell it, and we need you, and we'll give you the money from all this stuff. And really, he was just looking for a free ride to Bonefield Island for some reason. Would you make the movie after the main series? I would not. We are not. Do you understand George Lucas's drive to make special editions? Yeah. Yeah, big time. Is that a spoiler? Chat, basically, like, I want people to be, like, guessing more than they are. So I read all the comments on the Season 2 trailer, right? I'm like, hey, how come people aren't making more guesses? And so really I'm just trying to make you make more guesses. When I'm like, What could Victor be up to? You know, just make some guesses. Which is funny because there are 2 rules. We have 2 rules here, actually. Let me see if I can find those. We got 2 rules. Rule 1, keep it about Boxpeak. Don't ask me about what sandwich I'm going to eat later today. And rule number 2, don't ask about future episodes. But I do want you to guess. There we go, it's back. I have never managed to leave an art supply store without overspending. How accurate did your budget estimate come out? Pretty good, because what I said, $2,000, I think. So I had a lot of room, and I did not include the camera as part of it. The thing is, Silent Sheldon, is that I did buy a lot of things that I did not need. There's a bunch of things where, like, you're at the end of episode 10, and you're like, oh, I didn't use that. There's, like, cool papers and stuff. What'd you ultimately go with in terms of contrast and saturation? This right here is saturation 150, shadows negative a hundo is basically what I settled on. I like it. I like it. Did Victor's call the observers on himself? No. So what was the thing you wanted to change? So it's at the end of the opening. The color seems off on the peak outside the box peak. For some reason, the color looks yellower or something like that. And I mean, that's all early footage that I don't touch anymore. So it's weird that it looks bad now. And maybe that's just, maybe it's always looked bad, but I wanted to look at that again. Can you talk about the scene where the peak ref jumps out of the stabilizers? Yeah. So that's the legit PeakRef 12 model, right? That's actually truly stuck between those 2 beams. Maybe I can, you know what? We can pull that in. We can do that, right, dude? I accept your challenge. Careful, Jordy. 1 second. Let me see if we can actually go frame by frame on that. It might be cool. Someone asked if there's more Boxpeak merch in production. Basically, there's an upcoming Easy Allies merch announcement that's not mine to make. So I can't talk about anything in regards to that. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, and then let me do... There you are. Okay, cool. So, hold on, is it making noise again? No, there we go. Okay, so let's go to that scene. Here we go. Okay, cool. So, this is me poking the actual PeakRef 12 model from behind with like a planting stick. You know, like in Weird Little Things that are planters where like the plant just like grows up a stick. That's actually what I'm using there because I didn't like the wires. Basically, I had this episode that's so heavy PeakRef 12 that I couldn't just have him bobbling around on a wire the whole time, and so I had to figure out something else. It's this thing, this plastic thing, and then the other scenes, it's a weird glass stir. And so like that works out. It looks kind of cool, I think. Okay, actually, I think I can play it in like slow-mo. No, don't do that. I just learned the functions of this thing recently. There we go. Playback speed turned down, baby. And then there's a separate PeakRef 12 that has no stabilizers, and then there are 4 different stabilizers that had to be cut out. Ooh, look at this in slow-mo, baby. Ooh, you know what? Not as cool in slow-mo. You definitely see the cut. The struggle looks good. I like this, looking at the struggle. The sound effect, I think, helps it a lot too. I think the sound effect for that part helps a ton. The squeak. Wait, give me real time now. Back to real time. Yeah, there you don't see the cut as much. Really works at normal speed. Yeah, it's cool. It's actually super hard to line that up with like emotion, you know what I mean? And I actually, the scenes of the shots of taking the PeakRef 12 off of those the stabilizers, I'm actually like pressing it against and then throwing it out so that there's still some reaction from the beams and the stabilizers themselves. Yeah, because you want the beams to wiggle a little bit too. Boop. Cool. Yeah, that was that one. Is there any other cool shot we should look at? Not really. That's like the only special effects shot in the whole app, huh? Oh, these are cool actually. The guy's getting hit. Yeah, let me play this slow-mo, baby. No, not that again. What'd I do? Yeah. Did you think you could get past us? Splat. Just gets his ear knocked in. I love that. So cool. Fun sound effects in there too. Man, that's sick actually. Look at that. That's not intentional. I'm so sorry. One more, please. Sick. And so yeah, that is doing the motion twice, right? You do it once with the normal face and then once with hold on, I do know that there are, you can go frame by frame in this software. And I was doing it earlier. I was like, oh yeah, I'm so ready for this stream. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. So what it looks like we have like 7 frames of this. And then we go into there. It's funny. You know what? I almost think he slows down too much. I wonder if I should have cut 1 frame earlier. But I think it's to make it match a little better. Have to say it looks like it killed him. He's not dead. That guy's not dead. Because you hear him afterward. You hear Huber going, "Aye." This hallway is cool. I think like I should have maybe used a wider shot of it to like really appreciate like how much of this hallway I built. There's like that warning sign on the left. Oh, and here's chat. This is the dumbest detail. Is that I actually cut around the door frame so that you, the viewer, would have hope that it could be opened. And like, you can't even notice. You can't tell. But I wanted you to believe like, oh, the door might open. It's cool. What does the warning sign say? So I think it's also implied heavily, I mean, like based off of like the stuff you see in this room, like they didn't build this place, they found this place. This guy's like, oh, this place gives me the creeps. Like this place had a purpose before whatever the villains are using it for. Who knows what that is? Find out in next week's episode. We're going to explore a lot more of what's going on in this villain's base. Is it PeakRef's number the rank or the order they were built? The order they were built in. I used to have some lore about that, about how like there's 2 new ones every year, but like it didn't make sense. And sometimes when you fill in too many details, your world falls apart, if that makes sense. And so like I kind of like this ambiguous number of PeakRefs a lot more. Did creating animations for the game give you a new perspective on animation for Box Peak? Kind of. I think maybe vice versa, right? Because I did most of Box Peak before the game. How many PeakRefs have been created? So do you mean for that scene, or do you mean like how they need like 4 different Batmobiles for a Batman movie? Because in this one, surprisingly few. There's PeakRef 12 natural. there is PeakRef 12 detached, PeakRef 12 damaged, and then that's it actually. Yeah, so only 3 PeakRef 12s. Longland Garnold in chat. After reading the scripts, this episode was the one I was most excited to see come to life. Cool. Awesome. For me, it's like a concern, right? It's like, man, how am I gonna do any of this? How am I gonna make this stuff? There's a shot where the PeakRef doesn't have the stick. Intentional? Yeah, like the stick doesn't exist in real life. You as the audience are meant to accept that the stick is only there when it's talking. Jones mentioned more heavily promoting season 2, even mentioning possibly using paid advertising. What happened to that? Why was it so short from the announcement to the premiere? So I think that's like, it's on Jones and it's on me. So like, I don't care about promoting BoxPeak, right? Like there's no care from that for me. So like when Jones makes these plans, it's all Jones. It's like, it's not a thing that he talked to me about. And for me, I like a low key premiere. You know what I mean? I don't like to be like, everybody, you gotta watch BoxPeak. It's gonna blow your mind. Check it out. Like a month ago, you know what I mean? Yeah, I like doing short announcement to premiere, big time. It's the thing I like doing. I like lowered expectations. How was this last year making season 2 different from the time it took to make the debut? Any more or less stressful? It's weird, right? It was an unknown making it year 1, and then year 2 I know, basically what BoxPeak is, what its audience is like, what people don't like. Yeah, I think the difference is it's definitely harder. I think it was harder season 2. I think it was harder to stay motivated. You're not working on this crazy surprise. You're just working on more episodes. And so, yeah, I think if anything, I want to call it more stressful, more difficult to stay consistently motivated. Another funny thing I just thought of though, when I was talking about like what people like, is that PeakRef 12 saying "cease this" to Dr. Scrapper is not in the script. That just became, like you in the comments and in live chat, you liked "cease this," and so like it became a stupid catchphrase. And I liked putting it in this completely inappropriate situation. Like when you hear "cease this" in that situation, you're not laughing. You're like, oh, I'm worried about PeakRef 12. And so I kind of liked using it that way. And so, yeah, that is one change that happened. Like, you don't make the episodes in a vacuum. You do get some stuff back from your community, and it does change future episodes, and I like that. Episodes 7 to 10 completed already. 7 to 9 are. 10 is not yet complete, but it'll be done soon. But yeah, when I say complete, like I worked on this episode a bunch this week, and it's mostly tinkering, right? Like this episode was done. It had 0 sound effects, and believe me, this is an awkward episode with 0 sound effects. So yeah, there was still work to do on it. I have to do sound effects for the next episode, for episode 7, but for some reason I did the sound effects already for 8 and 9. It's weird. It's been a weird process. Do you have an ending in mind? Yeah, it's done. Ending's written. Ending's recorded. I know it's all in here. Sorry, I missed one. Was this episode designed to break? Oh, no. The writing convention structures you set up in the first 6 episodes. First 5, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so basically Dark and Cloud, I don't feel like this episode could exist unless you already have an expectation for what a BoxPeak match goes like. You know what I mean? The episode starts and you're like, okay, this guy's got X-ray glasses, and you're like, oh, okay. Jordy finds out some way to beat the guy with X-ray glasses. Boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. And you can't have the boopy, 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 boop unless you really hammer it in, unless you have those first 5 episodes. So yeah, this is episode 6 for a reason, for sure. How are you feeling now that season 2 is officially started? I'm excited to keep going. I'm excited for you to see next week's episode and the one after that. You know what I mean? So yeah. It's not like, ooh, yeah, I finally did it, is the feeling I'm having. The feeling I'm having is like, let's go. Here we go. Last lap. Were you ever tempted to give PeakRefs pupils or eyebrows to give them? Yes. Yeah. I definitely had some concept art where I'm like, how do I, You know, like, how do I make them more expressive? The frown is all they get. I like the frown. But yeah, there's definitely stuff where it's like angry eyes and stuff like that. But I think in the end, it's funnier not to have any of that. In the end, it's funnier for them to be expressionless, and they're designed to be expressionless. They're designed to frown, right? Because they're referees. They're designed to be impartial. And so, yeah, I think it's all part of their design. I really like it, actually. What's your favorite episode of this season? Season 2? It's next week, buddy. But don't ask about future episodes. That's one of the 2 rules. That's what sold the jaw drop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If the peak refs are expressive all the time, it's not funny if a jaw drops. But if you see... Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, if they never move their mouths ever, it is funny that, like, this is the thing that really draws it to drop its jaw. Chat, I just realized we're 4 minutes till noon. We're 4 minutes till the Q&A is done. How many points does Jordy have as of this episode? That's a good question, and technically that qualifies. I wrote that down at one point. I was like, here's what he's got at this episode. Again, I think it's not important. I think when I wrote that down and like had that all planned out, it's actually not that important. It's not 2 broke girls, right? At the end of every episode of 2 Broke Girls, you learn how broke they are. And 2 Broke Girls sticks to its lore. But I think sometimes that can be limiting, right? Because in the next episode of 2 Broke Girls, you got to make sure they're talking about that $200 they have, you know? And if somebody says 180, it's like, well, no. You said they have $200 at the end of last week's episode. And so, yeah. It's I think I stayed consistent with the points, but yeah, it's not important to me to like, keep everybody updated. Oh man, only 4 minutes left, and Bossman ignored me. But then I saw you. All you needed was a little emote. Did you look at comics or anime for inspiration for the punches? No. I gotta say, that came very naturally. The funnest drawings of this episode were the bad guys and the bad guys getting punched. You know what I mean? It's like the let's go, baby. It's not like the, oh, how do I draw this? Like the bad guys getting punched and getting their faces smashed in was like, I'm ready for this. I'm so excited to draw these things. So yeah. That is what that was. I was really, really ready to do those. I almost did blood. I almost legitimately had blood. It was hard to talk myself out of blood. Well, here's the crazy thing. Chat, this is going to get wild. So everyone's skin is white in Box Peak, right? And so I figure their blood is not actually red. They do have red tongues because it looked too weird. So when you see the scar on Dr. Scrapper, it's actually just a darker gray. I think it could get interpreted as metal. But it's actually, that's just the scar. And so like, I was thinking like their blood would not be red. If I did have them just like getting hit, it would be like gray blood, and that's too weird. I'm asking you to accept too much if you see gray blood and you're like, this is normal. But also like, I think it makes the show violent, right? A lot of people, you know, throughout season 1 and, you know, like looking forward to season 2 are like, when's the show gonna get dark? And I think this episode is pretty dark, right? And I think like adding blood makes it intentional. Like, this is the dark one. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I want it to still be Box Peak. I don't want it to be like, gotcha, now this is the show. You know what I mean? That's not at all the intention of this episode. It's still like, oh, okay, this all fits. This is all still part of the universe that was built up to this point, which is what I like about that. How do you feel your skills, concept writing, directing, editing changed and improving over the course of this entire project? I'll say that when we did the marathon leading up to the stream, I was very embarrassed by some of the previous episodes, and I have the utmost confidence that I will be extremely embarrassed by all of this someday. So yeah, I'd say it keeps improving for sure. Always hate what you did last. Have you plan to do a slow motion shot where it fades between still frames? So the camera that I have can't do more than 60 frames per second. Like I tried to, like, this is like fake slow mo, right? The shot of Minkle-Rude, the shot of Minkle-Rude walking is meant to be slow mo, but it's not. It's fake slow mo. But yeah, it's the best I could do with my hardware. Jones is missing in the credits? No way. You're totally right. It should be Dr. Scrapper and then Brandon Jones. How did I do that 2 episodes? Thank you. Oh, I feel so bad. This is the one thing I wish that I had a second person for, is like, hey, you missed that person in the credits. Whatever, man. Everybody knows who Victor is. I feel so bad, Jones. How'd I miss that? Bummer. Bummer. Right? Because there's the whole slide, and like there's just one for Dr. Scrapper. I'm like, there's got to be somebody else in this episode. Yeah, it's a bummer. That's why he didn't fork out for the ad campaign? Yeah, I know it is. SAG-AFTRA violation. That's a big one. If that happens in real life, you like forget somebody in your credits, you're fired, baby. You're never working in this town again. Looking forward to the correction in next week's credits. That's part of the nature of BoxPeak, right? And in episode 6, Brandon Jones as Victor. Thanks to all the subs and resubs. I'm happy to have you, like, over here. Happy to have you on the stream. I haven't been calling them out because I've been kind of focused on these things. Let's do 3 more questions. It's 12:02. Let's do 3 more. How'd I miss Jones? I'm actually super bummed about that. I'm super bummed. It's one of the last things I ever do. Do you find there's any crossover between Game Boy game creation and BoxPeak creation? Yeah, I would say it comes in problem solving. So one of my favorite things about making that Game Boy game was the problem solving. Was I want this thing to happen. How do I make it look like that's actually happening? That's totally the same as this. And the value I get out of that problem solving. I wrote a post about this. I don't know if I deleted this, if this is one of the ones I deleted or actually published. The idea of like this, I did write this one down. When you do a Zelda puzzle, you're like, I'm a little genius, but like somebody already made that puzzle for you. You know what I mean? Like the genius made the puzzle, buddy. You just did the thing that person wanted you to do. But what's cool about like creative problem solving is that there's no guy who already made that for you. You know what I mean? You are actually trying to solve this thing for yourself, and the solution is natural. It is something that you actually came up with. And so, yeah, I would say that that's the thing that really ties these 2 things together for me in my own mind, is like just that feeling of like, oh, I cracked it. I figured out how to communicate that thing. Do you ever want to create posters to promote the season future episodes? No, I guess in this, right? In this feeling of like what I actually value out of BoxPeak, and this process, promotion's not part of it. I have little to no interest in doing the promotions or, making it a big deal, which I realize can be disappointing if you're a fan of BoxPeak. You're like, why doesn't he care more? It's like, it's weird because like what I do care about is not the audience, the size of the audience, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's weird. But no, I don't want to make any posters. What's the best part of the process? I would say I could just kind of answer that actually. Just before you go, and I know this is rule breaking, but what did Ben want to try? I have no idea. I've legit didn't have no idea what he wanted to try. Let's take one more question, chat. Okay, would you ever like to see Box Peak as a game similar to Don't Call Me Mama? No, actually I've answered this question many times. I don't want Box Peak ever to be a game. The whole point is like the game is people peeking outside of boxes. Like I don't want that to be a video game. Never say never. I know, I have to say it a lot because I think people would like a little cute Box Peak RPG. It'd have to be like with Don't Call Me Mama, it like takes place before something. It's the story of trying to get the president's husband outside of his box. Are the worlds of Box Peak and Don't Call Me Mama connected in any way? 0 ways. Boat dog plushies. We got some. We got some boat dog plushies. Not for sale. They're just for us. Since you've written Box Peak scripts, have you thought of Box Peak mods that you like? I'll just say any mod I thought would be a cool idea is in the show. I think we're good, chat. I forgot to say at the beginning of the stream also, it's way easier for me to find questions if you do @EasyAllies. And I realized probably that person who was crying before and did the crying emote, maybe I did not make that a thing. And I feel bad about that. Got to make that announcement early. @EasyAllies if you got a question for me, because it highlights it in chat. It's easy for me to find. Okay, chat. I am extremely tired. I have not slept very much, but energy is high. I'm going to make the post on Patreon right now. I'm going to go ahead and read a bunch of YouTube comments. I'm going to read their guesses. I know YouTubers are making guesses. That's all I ask for. Not for sale. Are you for real? Yeah, sorry. They were a gift. They were a gift from someone in our community who sent us, actually handed me boat dogs at a meetup. And so, yeah, they're not an actual thing that people can buy anywhere. Typical YouTubers. Oh, I Can't Potato, you're in here. You're willing to say so. Yeah, it was Chris. Chris legit made them. Yeah, it was really, really cool. Yeah, and you can see one in the studio when we're doing group streams from time to time. I'll copy my guess as a comment. No, I don't want to see. Sorry, this is Q&A. This is not guesses and answering. I won't answer your guesses. I want you to be guessing, but I don't want you to be guessing straight at me, if that makes sense. I want to go on the Box Peak message boards late at night and grin and say like they're on the right track, you know. Box Peak message boards currently 0 members, 0 threads, 0 comments. They're hard to find. It's like a Discord where you need to be invited. And so I hope that maybe one of you in chat will get invited tonight to the actual official Box Peak message boards. Still waiting to see some threads in there. Hope you get invited tonight. Invite me? I'm not invited. I have read access, which is really exciting, but I can't write any comments. Oh, Jonesy, I'm so bummed I left him out of the credits. He did such a good performance too. How cool is that moment? I actually love how the sound effect of the feet sounds as he walks up. I am in charge here. Victor Ross. Like, it's cool. Oh, I truly, truly feel bad about that. That is the downside of the process, right? Like, it's something you spent a year on. It's like crazy how there could be like any error, but it's just like that was the last thing I did. Okay, everybody, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to wave goodbye. We can have a robot party this week. Next time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, you will see the premiere of episode 7 of Box Peak. That's pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm going to be streaming tonight too, actually, at 9 p.m. tonight. We'll be wrapping up the Grand Stream Saga, Crazy PS1 RPG. So we'll be doing that tonight. So yeah, I'll just see you later tonight. I'm going to sleep in between now and then, which is going to feel really nice. And I'm probably going to have a burger. You know what? I should have chicken tenders to celebrate every Box Peak release. I'm going to have some chicken tenders. Okay. All right. Mute time. Bring the mute.